Brainfoo, random stimulation for the brain.
If you've watched any of the Marvel films, there's a lot of destruction when the heroes are taking on the bad guys. But what if a stray shot, say from Thor's hammer, was to accidentally hit a civilian right in the head? Well, I can pretty much guarantee you're not going to see that in the cinema anytime soon, but thanks to our solid metal Thor's hammer build and the testing rig, it is something we can check out for ourselves. It's often said that a simple coconut is the closest stand-in for a human skull, and according to research, 14 to 70 joules can result in a fracture, with 80 to 100 pretty much guaranteeing the job. So let's not mess around and crank Thor's hammer to the top of our 4-meter test rig to simulate that superhuman throw. Well, there you have it. I'm no medical expert, but I'd say that skull is well and truly fractured. Any brain matter inside would have fared about as well as that watermelon from our last video. But it does beg the question, what about some form of head protection? This is a standard adult cycle helmet rated at roughly 100 joules of protection. You might just be wearing something like this if you were cycling past. Although the bike helmet has absorbed quite a bit of the impact, you can peel away the outside like the shell of a boiled egg, and it still managed to smash everything through the board underneath. Needless to say, you're not riding into the sunset after this one. New York City, builders in hard hats could happen. Again, rated at about 100 joules, but rather than foam protection, we have this suspended plastic webbing. Better or worse? Place your bets now. There's no mystery to this outcome. The lack of padding allowed the full impact of the hammer to do its worst. Once the outer shell was breached, the webbing was useless and you'd be in a right old mess. Next up is a motorbike helmet rated at roughly 200 joules, and this is different because it has the tough outer shell and some foam cushioning, so could be interesting. So far, this is definitely the best of the lot. I know it snapped the sides, but if you ignore the fact that the G-force has probably just killed you, apart from the dent in the top, you're already looking way cooler. There is, however, a great big hammer-shaped dent, and it's totally split. In fact, you can still see the shape of the hammer. Internally, there's no sharp objects poking through, and the padding's pretty much intact. And the coconut, as well as the board underneath, is still undamaged. but it's not until you look at the slow-mo that it reveals the full effects of the impact. The last hope is this genuine steel army helmet. It's not likely you'd be wearing this, but rated at roughly 700 joules, it's worth a punt. First, the good news, the helmet only has a small dent and you could easily knock it out. The bad news is we seem to have invented the cookie cutter from hell. The injuries sustained from this don't even bear thinking about.
It's warm.
Not that you'd be particularly bothered about it after that impact, but your skull is badly fractured too. Tell you what though, it's a pretty clean cut. I don't know about you guys, but I now have a newfound respect for bicycle and motorbike helmets, even though they were pitted against ridiculous odds in our tests. Well, that brings another video to an end, and I will be moving on to some new projects again very soon. Meanwhile, if you want to watch a homemade Deathstroke helmet and Harlequin Malik face-off, why not check out the guys at Friggin' Boom Toys and say hi. If you enjoyed that video, consider a like, share or subscribe. Thanks for watching.